Octopus Prime with the Cooter Report for the Skeptic Fence Show.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to bag me some horn kickers tonight.
Let's see who we got this week.
Look, we are timid and mealy-mouthed and afraid. And you see Republicans when they're interviewed by left-wing reporters, and they get afraid. They want them to like them. Mm-hmm. They are not going to like us. They hate us.
Maybe part of the reason they hate you is because you're such a dishonest fucking prick. Ted Cruz, you and the rest of the fucking Republican politicians out there being interviewed. Apparently, Republican politicians are just so timid and just so meek and mild, just like Jesus, and they just want liberals to like them. Huh? What a load of bullshit. That is obvious bullshit. And if someone calls Ted Cruz out on this bullshit, that immediately makes them like liberal media. Yeah, there's a reason that people think you're pieces of shit and hate you. And it's because, well, you deserve it, asshole.
I'll tell you a funny story.
I got $100 that says this story is not actually funny in any fucking way.
A young staffer in my office was commenting about a particular reporter, saying, "Oh, she's really, really nice." And I actually stopped him and I said, "You know what? No, she's not. She wants to destroy you. Nothing would make her happier than to take your life and fillet you on the front pages. And don't think for a minute, because she smiles and is friendly to you, that it's anything else." And
you know, being polite and smiling and shit is one way of being nice. However, her job as a reporter or journalist is to talk about things, and including when you fuck up or say something stupid. And if you're Ted Cruz, you say stupid shit just constantly. I mean, look at his dad. Look where he got it from. Just stupid shit all over the place. And so to him, anyone reporting on all the stupid shit he says is just a mean reporter. And they might do it with a smile, but that's just because they want to fillet you on the front page. Just say shit that makes sense logically, and they'll have a hard time making you look like an idiot. But the reason they have such an easy time making you look like such a fool is because all the shit that comes out of your mouth is so fucking retarded. Also, I would have won that $100 bet because that story wasn't funny in any way. Someone saying, "Oh, your staffer saying she's nice," and him being like, "You know what? She's not. She's mean. She wants to screw up your life. Why? Because she's a left-wing reporter." Is it that she wants to misquote him? No, it's just that she wants to expose his stupidity, which makes her a bad person. Go fuck yourself, Ted Cruz.
Isn't that pretty cynical?
It is, but to understand, listen.
I mean, I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
I just wanted to push back. I mean, it's a little cynical.
So even Glenn Beck, who apparently agrees with Ted Cruz about this 100%, still can notice that it comes off as very cynical to say, like, just fuck them. They hate you. Don't make them try and like you. Don't try and work with them. Just be a douchebag. And when they point it out, that's because they hate you. Not because you're a douchebag and they're honest.
Before we started filming, you were telling me about your ranch in Idaho, and you were telling me about the sheep, and the coyotes ate the sheep.
Yes.
You know what? When the sheep are walking among coyotes, it pays to be cynical.
Yeah.
Did this motherfucker seriously just imply that in the analogy of sheep and wolves, the Republican politicians like Ted Cruz are just the poor sheep, and the liberal media is the big bad wolf? So it pays for these Republican politicians to be so cynical, because it's the only way to deal with these big bad wolf liberal reporters or journalists, right? How fucking stupid and dishonest can you possibly be? Oh, wait, because he might just outdo himself.
The job of the mainstream media, as they see it, they are partisans, they are protecting Barack Obama, and they are ready for Hillary.
The mainstream media, which, by the way, doesn't include Fox News, who constantly spouts about how popular they are and how they are the most watched and all that. That's not mainstream, right? How are you going to deal with that, Ted Cruz?
And so what we need to do when we deal with the media is speak the truth, but do it with a smile.
So your solution is to fucking pretend like you're nice, which is the same shit that you just complained and said you had to tell off a staffer. A funny story, by the way. You had to tell off a staffer who said, "Oh yeah, this journalist or this reporter, she's nice." Be like, "Look, she might smile, but she's a total bitch," is what Ted Cruz is saying. Well, Ted Cruz's solution is act like a bitch, but do it with a smile. That's how you get them. You see? You see how when they do it, it's terrible, but when we do it, it's genius and totally justified, because he has no ability to self-reflect, to put himself in someone else's shoes, to look at himself or his positions or his fucking political party from an outside perspective. Either that or he does, and he just doesn't give a fuck. He's just a dishonest, smug piece of shit. And Ted Cruz totally does fit that, so who knows? Who knows if he's stupid or disingenuous, but it's one of the fucking two.
You know, Margaret Thatcher said, first you win the argument, then you win the vote. The last several elections, we haven't won the argument. We haven't even made the argument.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't make the argument.
Who knows what argument they're talking about? I've heard Republicans bitch about everything. Everything. I don't know what exactly they're missing out on. That one big argument that they would win on but never bring up. Yeah, that totally sounds like Republicans to me. They never complain about any kind of issue or the president or gay marriage or anything. But they just don't bring up the argument, people. That's the problem, you know. Even Glenn Beck agrees with Ted Cruz here that the main issue is Republicans don't complain enough. Yeah, got it.
But we've got to understand who they are and know what we believe. And
Let's start there. What is it we believe? Because we are facing, I think, destruction.
Yes.
As a nation,
yes.
I think we're off the Constitution now. Would you agree with that?
We absolutely,
yes. We're off especially with the rulings last week. We are.
Yes.
We're just making it up
Yes.
now as we
Yes.
go. So if we don't correct it now, we're done.
It is now or never.
These fuckers have to discuss whether or not they know what they believe or believe what they know, or you're just fucking stupid, especially if what you believe is that we're on the path of destruction. America will be destroyed. Why? Because you didn't listen to Glenn Beck and fucking Ted Cruz. Oh, and by the way, we're totally off the Constitution because the Supreme Court made some fucking decisions. That totally wasn't the point of the Supreme Court. It's not like they wrote the Constitution as like a living document that could be worked on and improved through time or anything like that, right? It's just, they're just making it up as they go along, as if that's the job of the Supreme Court. By the way, the same argument that Glenn Beck made during the Hobby Lobby ruling, when they gave religious fucking liberty like to business owners, Glenn Beck was saying the same thing. They're just making it up as they go along. Oh no, then they were doing the constitutional thing. But you disagree with Glenn Beck or Ted Cruz, and we're off the Constitution, man. Man, we just need to get right back to whatever the Constitution says, however I want to fucking interpret it, the same way I do with my Bible, and the same way I like to project my fucking political shortcomings onto others. Go fuck yourselves. Glenn Beck and Ted Cruz both win the Cooter Award for being the dumbest horn kickers I could find this week. Until next time.